Hi guys, this is the video tutorial for NeutrinoParticles editor. In this tutorial we will touch uh, user graphic interface, Windows layout and some basic editor's features. I suppose you already downloaded the editor, but if you didn't, you can easily make it on neutrinoparticles.com website in downloads section. Here you can see the latest version of the editor. It will be the topmost. Also, please note that you might need a Visual Studio distributable package, and if you have some troubles and error MSVRC something DLL not found, you will need to install that package to download and install it from official Microsoft web page. So after you downloaded it and unpack it, you will have a folder with the application. You don't need to install it, you just need to execute this file and it will start the editor. On the first run, you will see this like dialog. Here you can open or create project, open samples project, or open recent projects. Let's open samples and choose one by double clicking. So let's look to the windows. The first one is project window. Here you can see a list of effects in your project, which actually is a reflection of files on the disk. You can find samples project in samples directory of the editor. Here you can see samples npproj file. This is project file. Particles and textures folders, where first has a list of effects, where each effect is np-add file, and textures folder, where all textures used by all effects in this project placed. So you can change this location of these folders in project settings under this gear button. Here you can see folders settings. Also you can see here preview settings for the project and some exporter settings, but this will be a little later. Okay. You can make some basic operations on your effects, like rename, delete effects. You can multi-select and drag them to another folder. You can create new effect or particle system. It's the same. I'll call it test. Yes. Then I'll delete it. Yes. You can create new folders, so all basic operations. Since all effects are files on the disk, you can easily move them or copy them to other projects by copying corresponding np-add files. Also, you will need to copy all resources with that effects, like textures or images they are using. If you need to duplicate effect in the same project, you can just duplicate its effect file, then press F5 or refresh the project and you will have duplicated effect. Also on the top of project window you can see sign in button. It will sign you in to the export server, which will allow you to export your effects to source code to play them in your application or the game. But again, about that a little bit later. As you can see on some windows there are colored outlines like blue, green and red here. These outlines are made for visual linkage of selected item with window content. For example, we have birds effect selected here in project window, and in this window we can see content of this effect. It's a list of emitters. Here we have selected emitter, and in this window we have its content, its properties, which describes behavior of particles. So the next window we will look at is particle system window or effect window. It contains a list of emitters inside effect. What is emitter and what is difference between emitter and effect? Let me open campfire sample, and as you can see this effect consists of two parts. One is fire and the second one is sparks from that fire. Obviously particles of fire and sparks have different behavior and different look. So this effect is made from two emitters, fire and sparks. So emitter generates particles, controls them and describes their appearance and behavior. The particle system window you can create new emitter, delete it, drag emitters to rearrange them. Also you can rename, reflect emitters, about that in next tutorials. So when you created new emitter, you can tune it or develop it in two different ways in NeutrinoParticles. First one is Emitter Guide, and the second one is Emitter Scheme. For some old samples, Emitter Guide is not available, as you can see here, because Emitter Guide was introduced after that samples were created. So I will open more recent sample, select one of emitters, and you can see Emitter Guide window is filled with controls. When you create emitter with Emitter Guide, mostly all of your work is done inside Emitter Guide window. These controls describe particles behavior inside this emitter. Emitter Guide divides particles behavior at sections like generation, lifetime, start position, change in position, size, rotation, color, transparency, and so on. So you can iteratively work with each of that sections and achieve desired result. Let me show you a sample workflow with Emitter Guide. I create new emitter, call it test. Then in the Emitter Guide, You can see start section is green, and currently it's a point 000 XYZ. I change it to path, press button edit path and edit path where particles are created. Then I want to change generation rate of particles to 50 per second. Lifetime of particle I'll set to 1 second. Then change start size to 10, and size multiplier I'll set over particle life and change graph to something like this. Then I want to change texture and appearance properties and change texture to something yellow spot. So this is a simple example of workflow with Emitter Guide. The second way of creating emitters is Emitter Scheme. You can find it on this window. I will drag this window to see Emitter Scheme and preview simultaneously. Actually, Emitter Guide is just a front end of Emitter Scheme. It simplifies Emitter Scheme editing by providing some templates for usual templates for most of effects, like starting position of a particle in point, at path, between two paths, at sphere, at circle, in the user drawn area, and so on. Emitter Scheme is a set of blocks linked to each other. All these blocks have very simple functions, like providing a value or expression a divided by b, or graph, or random vector with length 100, or block which moves particle. But connected together, these blocks provides a very flexible and very powerful way of creating, of describing particles behavior. Blocks on the scheme have inputs and outputs. You can connect them, break links. There are very specific blocks, like constructor, which in charge of creating geometry and look of particles. Generator block, which knows when and how to generate particles. Terminator block, which decides when particles should be terminated. But now I will not go deep into the Emitter Scheme, because for most of simple and average effects, 95 to 100% of work will be done inside Emitter Guide. So for Emitter Scheme, I will make a separate tutorial to show its power and capabilities. So I'll put it back under preview. There are 3 windows left, and first one is blocks palette, and I will bring Emitter Scheme back because blocks palette has all blocks you can use in Emitter Scheme. You can choose one, drag it on the Emitter Scheme, and then link it and use it inside Scheme. As you can see, there are plenty blocks on the palette. In most of cases they make very simple mathematics, but again when they used on the Emitter Scheme in combination, then can make incredible things. The next window is Properties window, and it shows properties of currently selected block or emitter. You can see a red frame for the red window, or even effect. You probably will not use this window very much when you creating effects with emitter guide, maybe only for properties of emitter and properties of effect. Curves editor window will bring to front automatically when you select graph block or want to edit graph from the emitter guide. Curves editor is a powerful graphs editor which allows you to use different types of segments like linear or Bezier, different types of keys like continuous keys or corner keys, or even broken keys where you can instant jump to new value. So this editor gives you very convenient control of some values. And the last window is Preview. Here you can see your working effect. You can pan view, zoom view. You can switch some usual things like grid, snap into grid, change background color. You can add a picture to the background or foreground. Name stars. Just for reference to help create your effect. Okay, this is the end of the overview. Watch next tutorials. Bye.